Welcome to Rewrite Reality, where we peel back the layers of how we imagine our world, then explore what it means to build different futures. I'm Gregg the Artivist, and on today's episode, we dive into how to stay human in a sick society. Join me to reflect, challenge assumptions, and spark possibility. Thanks for being here. Let's get into it. Are we living in a profoundly sick society, and what does that actually mean? I've been thinking a lot lately about how to navigate and thrive in what many people describe as a profoundly sick society without losing ourselves or our values. And I'm excited to dive into this topic today and even more eager to hear your thoughts. So please share your comments in the comment box below. But let's jump straight into it. Years ago, I came across this powerful quote from an Indian philosopher, Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." Now, this quote has stuck with me, and I caught myself even quoting it the other day to emphasize the challenge of fitting into a world that is fundamentally flawed. Now, essentially, Krishnamurti is saying that if we conform to society's expectations, and just for an example, let's say securing high-paying jobs, having homes and cars, enjoying luxurious holidays, owning the latest fashion, having the latest gadgets, achieving financial freedom, then in a profoundly sick society, we are merely aligning ourselves with its inherent issues. In other words, we are the problem. Now, this conundrum has weighed on my mind. How can we achieve what society values without perpetuating its problems? The idea of a profoundly sick society points to critical issues in modern civilization, such as inequality, environmental degradation, social isolation, and the prioritization of material wealth over human well-being. These concerns fuel my passion for climate justice. As a society, we are becoming more aware of inequality and injustices. Economic disparity continues to grow, with the wealth concentrated in the hands of the few, while many live in poverty. Industrialization and consumerism have caused significant environmental damage, contributing to climate change and loss of biodiversity. Technology and its advancements, while beneficial, have also led to increased social isolation, loneliness, and mental health issues. And then there's the emphasis on materialism, which often overshadows the importance of community and relationships and personal fulfillment. So then, how do we live meaningfully in this profoundly sick society without overly adjusting to its potentially harmful norms? Now, on reflection, I've noticed that my life has kind of evolved around this growing awareness as I've become more informed on societal issues, and I'm constantly striving to live in ways that stay true to my beliefs. However, last night I thought about the changes that I've made to align my life with my values, whether they've been really made consciously or not. And I'd like to discuss 4 of these with you today. Now, the first change, I guess, is critical thinking and awareness. I truly, honestly believe that we must educate ourselves, going beyond, what we hear in the news media headlines, to critically think and ask questions. I find I now do my own research and, where possible, consult with experts to understand broader contexts, helping me form a conscious opinion or understanding or choice even. And today, we're so bombarded by information driven by algorithms that often reinforce misleading messages. And if there's one thing that psychology has shown, is that without questioning, we start to believe repeated information. And maybe even more significantly, I've become a champion for questioning society's norms, especially those that prioritize profit over people and the planet. Society's norms are so deeply ingrained in us from an early age, making us think they're our own truths. And I have to remind myself that these societal norms, such as career paths or marriage or family or material success or consumerism or, body image, aging. All of these are just constructs with specific purposes. And I question their relevance to the world that we live in today, to myself and my needs, and who actually benefits from them, which is usually the few. I simply don't fully trust anything I hear and read until I've literally cross-examined it. And I tell people, don't trust me either. Don't simply take my word for it. Do your own research. Secondly, there's community building. I guess in one way or another, no matter where I've lived in the world, I've always been a part of our community. But nowadays, the need to connect locally and build strong, supportive relationships within my community has become a priority. From something as simple as engaging with neighbors to supporting local organizations, these connections create a sense of belonging and mutual support that is invaluable. And the other thing is building or joining supportive networks is, I find equally important. Seeking out like-minded individuals and groups that share my values help me exchange experiences, hear new perspectives, and discuss solutions to shared concerns. Whether it's participating in community events or volunteering or simply having meaningful conversations, these networks really provide emotional support and they foster collaboration. And by actively or being actively involved in my local community and connecting with supportive networks, I find strength and purpose and a deeper sense of connection to the world around me. Next is sustainable living and ethical consumption. In a world of consumerism, I think we all have that pile of stuff hidden away in a cupboard or out in the shed, sort of out of sight, out of mind. And I found myself reverting back over these years to kind of my late teens and 20s when I was literally living out of a backpack for many years, embracing a minimalist lifestyle to reduce my reliance on material possessions. Nowadays, I try to have only what I truly need and prioritize experiences and relationship over things. Additionally, I'm focused on making environmentally conscious choices in my daily life wherever possible. And this includes probably the obvious things like, reducing waste and recycling, conscious buying by supporting ethical brands and businesses that align with my values, and also by avoiding companies known for their exploitive practices. And wherever possible, I try to buy local to support small business and reduce, my carbon footprint. But I understand that we are not all financially equal, and making these choices can be challenging. However, I believe it's important for us to do our best that we can do within our means. And by adopting a minimalist lifestyle and making mindful choices, we can contribute to a healthier planet while finding greater satisfaction in life's simple pleasures. And lastly, it's activism and advocacy. By engaging in activism and advocacy for causes that I care about, I find purpose and fulfillment. Whether that's through volunteering or participating in protests or supporting relevant organizations, our voices and our critical opinions matter. And using my voice and even this YouTube platform to raise awareness about important issues and advocate for change gives me a deep, meaningful purpose. And following that is creative expression. That's also a vital part of my artivism. Through art and, even the whole production around making these videos, from the script writing through to the editing, I process my emotions and share my views on society. And this creative outlet not only helps me understand and navigate my feelings, but it also allows me to communicate complex ideas effectively. And by combining activism with creativity, I can inspire others. I can promote critical thinking and foster a community of like-minded individuals committed to making a positive impact. And this blend of advocacy and artistry empowers me to contribute to society or to societal change in a unique and personal way. But to wrap things up, living in a society perceived as sick doesn't mean we need to resign to despair. And God only knows, I have said countless times, ignorance would be bliss. But instead, it involves making conscious choices that align with our values and, fostering community and connection and working towards positive change in ways that are meaningful to us. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rewrite Reality. If this resonates, consider sharing with someone who might also be thinking deeply about the world around them. And head over to greggtheartivist.com to explore more. I have the same episode in full with extra content as well as ways to connect. Also, if you haven't yet, subscribe or follow wherever you listen so you can catch future episodes. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and remember, together we can reshape what's possible.